the other McCallmar case obviously is still also ongoing, so tell me what you can about it. But, with the re-election of now President-elect Donald Trump, he was also at the center of the election indictment. What do you do now? Because we've got this Supreme Court precedent now that says sitting presidents really can't be charged for some of the things that they did in office, with him now having the protection of the White House. How do you proceed as it relates to just his portion of this case?
I'm not going to talk to you about a case. Let me talk to you about a young lawyer, and a lawyer that's got a little age on her. When I became a lawyer, I believe that all the smartest people were the judges, right? That's who rose to the top. I've been a little disheartened as I've gone on to practice law. But what I can tell you about me as a district attorney, I didn't indict anyone who I did not believe committed a crime in any case. And all of our more serious felony cases were indicted because a grand jury decided that there was enough evidence there to indict them. And so it is our plan, if someone has an indictment in this office, no matter who they are, we continue to pursue those charges. I can't be responsible for what judges and what courts will do. That will be decisions that they make, but I hope we get to see a little courage in leaders.
What about no matter how long it takes? Is that something that you think about too?
I'm patient. That's what age teaches you, is patience. I've been patient in the way we do our work, and I'm here for 8 more years is my plan. And so if that's what it takes for us to get justice in some cases, we come to work every day. We'll come to work and look for justice.
Several days later.
Donald Trump's legal battles are all but over following his historic election win, but there's one holdout still prosecuting the president-elect embattled Fulton County DA Fani Willis. But sources tell the New York Post the state Supreme Court is getting ready to dismiss the case, throwing Willis's professional future into doubt.
Hey, Ellie Honig is with us, I should point out. We got the letter from the DA here. No surprise that they're not eager to let this go. And they point out in their letter that there's no law that currently establishes that a president's immunity comes that it requires the dismissal of a post-trial criminal proceeding. In other words, there's nothing in the Supreme Court's ruling that gives a president immunity for being found guilty of something before he was president, let alone for acts that may not be deemed official. Suffice to say, this is complicated.
Yeah, Boris, this is brand new territory. This is the crazy law school hypothetical come to life. We've never had a situation anything like this. But to your question, I see 2 major takeaways from this filing we just got from the DA. First of all, the DA is okay with adjourning the sentencing indefinitely, which means it will not happen before he takes office, if the judge agrees. Kara makes a very important point. This is just the DA's position. Ultimately, it's up to the judge. But the second thing that really jumps out at me is the DA in this letter says what you just said, Boris, about immunity, that it doesn't necessarily cover post-trial proceedings. And so the DA floats the possibility in their letter. They say, we want to look into various options, including possibly having his sentencing happen in 2029, when he's done his second term as president. To me, that is a preposterous suggestion, just as a practical matter. You can't put off sentence 4+ years. I think Donald Trump would have a very strong argument when this day comes, when he's 82 years old and finishing up his second term, that's just too long to wait. But again, this is all unknown. This is all brand new. But I found that really interesting to see that the DA is actually floating the possibility of pushing sentencing till January 21st, I guess, of 2029.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the practical effect was of pushing something 4 years to when someone's an octogenarian, but it's like you're psychic, Ellie.
Donald Trump's legal battles are all but over following his historic election win, but there's one holdout still prosecuting the president-elect embattled Fulton County DA Fani Willis. But sources tell the New York Post the state Supreme Court is getting ready to dismiss the case, throwing Willis's professional future into doubt. Former federal prosecutor Francie Hakes joins us now. Good morning, Francie. Thank you for joining us. From what I understand, obviously this is the last case with the state of Georgia here. What makes people believe this case will be dropped?
Well, good morning, Joey. Right now, the case sits with the Georgia Court of Appeals. And just this week, they're supposed to have oral arguments on the defense's motion to have Fani Willis recused from the case for a variety of misconduct. And without any warning, without any apparent motion, and without any explanation, the Court of Appeals just removed, that is, canceled, that oral argument. And so there's speculation that they are getting ready to just rule based on the briefs instead of requiring oral argument. And if they're not requiring oral argument, they've probably made up their mind. And I'm guessing that the election has something to do with it.
Yeah, we all saw the riveting, we've televised it live here on Fox, the riveting case where Fani Willis's relationship with Nathan Wade was highlighted and showing where she might have, for lack of a better term, been exposed to malpractice in bringing these charges. So are we looking at a situation where she, as the prosecutor, is removed and thus the case goes away unless another prosecutor picks it up? Or is it the merits of the case itself could have it thrown out?
Well, Joey, if she gets recused, then the case simply gets removed from her office, because if she's conflicted out, her entire office is conflicted out. And then the case goes over to what's called the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia. And they have the ability to either assign the case to one of their lawyers, sort of roving prosecutors. In fact, we saw one of those prosecutors in action in the Lake and Riley case last week. She worked for the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia. So they could assign it to one of them, or they could assign it out to a different elected DA. And the case would effectively start from zero, because no prosecutor is going to want to come in and simply start where Fani Willis left off. They're all going to go to the beginning. And I suspect they'll all reach the same conclusion. There was no violation of law here, and this case should never have been brought.
Yeah, that seems to be what most people think. I hope so. This lawfare has to end, and our president needs to be able to govern. Francie Hakes, thanks for joining us.